Hello, hi everybody. We are starting 22 minutes late. Those of you who are rewatching this don't care, but for those of you who maybe wanted to see Daniel Smith watercolors being swatched like in real time, I had some serious technical difficulties. I will talk about it during the live stream, but let's get started. So we are doing Daniel Smith today. These are one of the first watercolors I ever got. You know what? I need to check and make sure that this is literally live. So let me double check that. I forgot to. Sorry.
Hey.
Why is this happening?
I'm a matchmaker. Give me a call if you want to meet somebody.
Why is this happening?
Trying to serve someone who fulfills all of my criteria.
Nothing over 20 p.m.
I don't know what this is making noise. Oh, there we go. Okay. So everything just started deciding to play noise because it's one of those days. Okay, let's try this again. Great. Okay. I almost hope it's not live. If this is going to be what's happening. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's live. Okay. So, yeah, whether or not that's a good thing. Okay. So, we're going to do Daniel Smith. We're live. Sorry about the noise. We're going to switch now to our active live stream. Here's the watercolor criteria that we use to determine. I apologize if the quality of the cameras, I had to switch cameras. That was the technical difficulty. So we use this criteria to learn about the watercolor that we're swatching. Sorry, I'm gonna change something over here. Why is that not working? All right, I don't know. We're going to, there we go. Okay. When we're looking at the watercolors, we are looking at their pigment number, like what actually are they made of. We're looking at light fastness. How likely are they going to be to disappear if the sun hits them? How quickly, how soon will that happen? We're looking at transparency. That's basically, are they opaque watercolors, kind of close to a gouache? Most watercolors aren't anywhere close to gouache. Or are they more of a transparent, like most watercolors are? Are they staining? Or do they not stain so much? That's usually dependent on how big the pigment particle is, if it's big or small. And then granulation. Not all colors tell us if they are. Not all tubes will give us that information, but a lot of times a lot of watercolor brands don't actually take that into consideration. They don't really seem to care. So because they don't care, they don't write the information down. Also, a lot of watercolor brands aren't really known for the granulation, but Daniel Smith is. So these are some of the first watercolors I ever got. One of the things I really liked about them is that they would sometimes come in these dry brick type situations. And let me show you that. Ooh, okay, yeah. So this is much less expensive than getting a tube. I did the math back then. I assume the math hasn't changed, but I haven't used Daniel Smith in a long time because I found out that it's better for wet and wet, not so much for layering. And I do more layering than I do wet and wet. Still like Daniel Smith just fine. I believe it's produced in the Pacific Northwest. Sorry, I have a hair in my eye. Maybe the Seattle area, maybe somewhere else, maybe Oregon. I'm not sure, I can't remember, but it's Pacific Northwest. And I feel like a lot of people all over the world just love it and talk about it a lot. I think I saw it while we were in the Netherlands. Like I saw it in a Dutch art supply store. And as you can see here, I've already got a palette set up. So we're gonna just kind of go with this. I don't think there are too many colors that are not on the palette, except that I did run out and I had to put them in the corners here. But as you can see, like there's some amazingly, this is Preemtech. There's some really pretty colors that are like designed for granulation. And I got these before I realized granulation might not be for me. And I still really love playing with them, but like actually making art with it, I haven't been enjoying that much. So we're gonna put these to the side. One of the things I was trying to do was get a third camera here so that you can see what I'm doing with this palette, not just what I'm doing with the book. Unfortunately, that camera just didn't work today. And so we're using the backup camera for what would have been the main display. And the backup camera is not going to be checking out. Oh wow, look at this. So last week we did Mission Gold, which is one of my favorites because it's really good for layering. But it's a pretty sticky paint and it is stuck on the paper that I put in here. I mean, I waited a long time for this to dry, like more than an hour before I closed it. And some of it looks like it still hasn't dried. So that's, you know, if you watch last week's, you might find that. The Mission Gold that we swatched is kind of, like if you layer it up a lot, you're going to get a lot of shine. Still got that hair in my face. Okay. I hope at some point I get the whole camera situation fixed out, but literally every time. Hi, Alyssa. Hi, how are you? Are you a fan of Daniel Smith watercolor in general? Any of those things? I hope that I get my camera situation figured out because I really love doing these live streams. And it's a huge amount of stress when your tech doesn't work half the time. Last week it was the microphone. The week before it was the face cam. It's something different every time and I don't really understand what I'm doing wrong. It just, the tech just doesn't hook up and it's causes me a lot of distress. I've never had to start a live stream 20 minutes late. I had to start like 5 minutes late one time, and that's okay. But 20? Like that's not good. So we're gonna start with these colors here. I'm not laying them out for you because I was fixing cameras instead of making sure that everything was laid out really nice. How many do we have? Let's count them together, which I would have done off camera, but because of the difficulties, we're gonna just have to do that on camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So about 21 paints. And I'm surprised how few tubes I have. Now to start with, okay, I gotta figure out this hair situation. It's driving me crazy. To start out with these Daniel Smiths, I only had the Phthalo Blue, Quinacridone Pink, which took the place of magenta, and then this yellow. So the Daniel Smith's paints were actually the ones that I used for the first couple of years to learn CM1K. Yeah, you love Daniel Smith? Cool. Tell me, what do you love about them? What are you hoping to see today? Maybe I'll make sure that I illustrate those properties if I have a color that maybe you don't have yet. So yeah, I use these three colors, and I may have had neutral tint or something, or sepia or something to just cheat and make things darker sometimes. But I just used these for years, and I ended up maybe way too often having magenta in a painting that I really wanted red in, and I just didn't know back then always how to mix it properly. Let me check here if we have any reds in the... That's definitely a red. Red, a deep red. We'll put it over here. And that's a brown, burnt sienna. I think we'll take permanent red oxide. No, we'll leave that in the reds. What is this one? Alizarin crimson. That's definitely red. Okay, do we have anything else? We've got an orange. So we'll move over to orange after. Because I never opened this all the way. They come like stuck together, so they're like you would lift them separately, but you can break them apart so that you can just have one of these like little containers with you if you wanted. Okay, so we're going to start with transparent red oxide. And these are Daniel Smith. By the way, these are my absolute last batch of watercolor swatches that we have. I don't have any more watercolor paint after this. I have other mediums like wash and color pencils. Do you have any of their terracotta type colors? Looking for a good one? Yeah, I think so. If you mean, like, do you consider burnt sienna to be a terracotta? And I know I have, I don't have anything called terracotta. I don't know if they have anything called terracotta, but I have quite a few deep reds. Yeah, I don't know about that one right there. I think is the burnt sienna. I'm not going to be using these because they're kind of dirty. I'm just using this as the palette to swatch. Okay, so we've got transparent red oxide. That's kind of, I don't know, I can't remember. It's been years since I used these. Red oxide. Like I can't remember exactly how this color is. What I like about Daniel Smith is we've got a lot of information. I don't know if it's gonna pick up for you. Let me see. No, it's not. It's not gonna cooperate. Backup camera. I don't really know how to make it do what I want. PR 101. Maybe a little pinker than burnt sienna. I could just add pink to burnt sienna. That's true. Although pinks are always like kind of not light fast, so that's frustrating. Oh, by the way, I'm having like some sort of like neck muscle spasms, and I took Tylenol and it was working, but I just felt one. So if I'm making weird faces, it might not be the watercolor that I'm making weird faces at, it's that it hurts. And it impacted my sleep, and I didn't get to sleep as well as I would like to last night because it's worse when I'm laying down for whatever reason. Okay, there's not a lot of information. There's a lot of information that's not helpful. Like it's gum Arabic solution, which is fine. That's not terrible to know, but I really want to know like the light fastness and stuff, and I'm not seeing it. What? I thought Daniel, I remember they have nothing on here. Seriously, nothing? Okay, their P.O. box is in Seattle, Washington. It's made in the USA. Oh, there we go. There we go. Light fastness. That's it? That's all you're going to tell me is it's light fastness? Alyssa, as far as like adding pink, quinacridone coral, I absolutely love this color. And I think if you mixed it with burnt sienna, it would probably make something really pretty. And I can try to do that for you if you want. And I'll put it on like this swatch card right here. So we've got, really, that's all you're going to give me? Well, we know it's transparent because that's in the name. Okay. All right. This one is light fastness 1. I'm just going to write light and then 1. And that's all. Maybe I'm just not. Let me see if come on, focus. I just want you to see that there's just not, like, tell me, am I missing something? I just am not seeing the information. And that is very odd. Well, I'm doing my best here. I think that the hair is stuck on my glasses. That must be what it is. That must be why I keep getting it. Oh my gosh. So I don't think I've ever had much binder separation with these, which is really nice. And it just like threw up a bunch of, where's my cloth? Where'd it go? It was just here. Oh. I think if you added pink to this one, you might get that same terracotta look that you're looking for. And in fact, I would call this terracotta, but it isn't. It isn't that pink. And it's showing up a little brighter on my monitor than it is in reality. But the color seems accurate to me. Whether or not it's your monitor is, you know, calibrated in any way similar to mine, I don't know. Hi, Bald Bear. Good afternoon to you. Bald Bear, did you hear me say that I started 20 minutes late because of technical difficulties? Like the camera just wouldn't turn on. Just would not work. Couldn't get I could only get one camera working, and that's this one right here. Let's see if they have more information on the sticks. This one tells you the light fastness, that it complies to certain codes, and that's all. Now, these being the first paints that I bought, this is light fastness. If IV means, that means 5 minus 1, right? So 4. Light fastness 4. That's not impressive. Like, I didn't realize how unlight fast Daniel Smith's stuff was. What? Because I wasn't paying attention to this stuff when I first started doing watercolor, so I didn't care. I mean, I probably would have cared if I had known to care, but I didn't know. When I was new to watercolor, I just wanted to know. I don't know. I think I was more invested in the colors. So I have a lot of colors in Daniel Smith that I really like. Alyssa, you're welcome. Bald Bear, no, I did not. Just plug your computer and never switch off. No, I mean that they overheat. I've thought about that, Bald Bear, and they overheat. So that is why. Oh yeah, we can know the light fastness for this. But I mean, that's not a really practical, like what if the electricity goes out, right? Light fastness is 4. Am I reading the Roman numerals correct? What I like about this alizarin crimson is that it's a color that a lot of, this is not good. I just splattered it. Hold on. Paper towel. Paper towel. Where is it? This is a color I hear a lot of professional artists using, and it's nice to know how they achieve the results that they achieve. Of course, most of it's technique, but sometimes, I hope that dries quickly, but sometimes it's the color that they used. You can also use these kind of like a crayon or a wet and wet. Sorry, not wet and wet. Where's my words? That's one of the mediums we'll be testing, is these like crayons that are water soluble. So like a water soluble crayon, I guess. But I don't remember what they're called. But I think they're Caran d'Ache. A Caran d'Ache water soluble type crayon. These are beautiful, beautiful colors in my opinion. So we've done transparent red oxide. We've done our... I don't want to lay these directly on my table because they're going to stain it, which it's already stained. But I think I'm going to lay these on. We'll get a new paper towel. I wish you could see what I'm lining up there, but not today. Quinacridone Coral. I love this color. Alyssa, I don't know if this is kind of like what you're interested in. Quinacridone Coral. Oh, I've been forgetting to write down the number, which they do have that on here, PR209. And then we've got PR101. 101. And it's funny because they've got a lot of information, not a lot of it relevant to what I'm trying to do today. PR83, but it's at least big enough that I can see it easily. It's not a strain. And then light fastness on this one is 2. I find it odd that you keep recommending to never switch off a computer. I just don't understand. That seems bad for the environment. Okay, we just got binder separation. That's definitely binder right there. I said that I don't remember that happening, and I really don't, but because I haven't used these paints in so long, maybe that's why. I think if you're using something a lot, it tends to stay. You think you have quinacridone coral by Mgram? Okay, well you can tell me if it looks the same. I just love that. That is way brighter than in reality. Let me see if I can change the saturation for you. I feel like the color's accurate, but the brightness is unhinged here. That is not right. I had it, where are we? Oh, I know why. Because bear with me for a moment. Because of all the camera trouble. Oh, this is not going to go well. Because of all the camera trouble, I I mean, it could go well. I just don't think it will. Let's see. I mean, that's okay. Let's see. So hard to get color accuracy. And I find it really frustrating because I really love color. And that's what we're working on. That's what we're working with. So I'd like it to be as close to what I'm seeing. I'd like you to see. Like, it's bad. with video, it's bad enough that we are already missing out on like a lot of things. One thing I'm glad that video doesn't convey is smell, because like literally a couple of weeks ago my dog was sitting under my desk and I had just changed her food, and Alyssa, the corals are so pretty. They are, right? This is still not good. It's still not, I feel like it's still not what I want it to look like. Is this the best I can do? I could also use this little remote here and just take the brightness down a notch. Okay, I think that might be a little closer. Is it bright enough for you though? Do we have enough contrast going on that you can read the writing? Do you care if you read the writing? I don't know. Okay, I think that's a good middle ground. Yeah, the corals are gorgeous. They are probably my favorite. Quinacridone pink. How many corals do you have, Alyssa? Like, do you have... I mean, that's the only coral I know of. Do you mean the M-gram one? The computer can go to sleep. Yeah, but what if the electricity goes off, Bald Bear? PV42. So the coral is PR209. You probably don't know off the top of your head if M-gram is like the same number, but does it look similar to you? I feel like it's still kind of like really way too bright. Like, it's not representing accurately. So this one is a more of a magenta. Computers can go to sleep, but I don't think that stops the cameras from overheating. I guess if I was doing a live stream every day, that would make a lot of sense. But if I'm only doing a live stream once a week, that seems like a lot of pressure to put on a computer for one day. I might be doing live streams a lot more often, and then that would make sense. How is it still so bright even though I've reduced the brightness so much? What is happening? Are there any cameras that are good at accurate color representation? Where current so far? Electricity going out? I mean, it's happened. It happens. Don't you think it uses too much electricity? I mean, yes, the computer goes to sleep, but... Yeah, the M-gram is very bright. Okay. Which is something I like about this color. Although it's literally not that bright. What is happening? How far would I have to have it down? It's so dark now. So now we've got Pyro Orange, another bright one. And I really used to really use this one a lot. You can't really tell, but like a good portion of it's, well, did I really use it that much? I guess not. I remember using it a lot. But I do think I have the best colors in Daniel Smith, or like my favorite colors, because at the time that's what I was focused on, not on how the paint operated. I was just like, oh, that's pretty. P073. And it is light fastness 1. And that's great. But I'm seeing that there isn't a huge amount of consistency over how light fast things are. I feel like there's a lot of variation, and that would be something to keep in mind, that unless you're doing prints, if you're planning to sell your work, Daniel Smith you might have to really check on your colors and make sure that you're using light fast colors. I need to get some water. We haven't been doing this that long, but I was rushing around trying to figure out why the cameras weren't working. So Bald Bear, the problem is the continuity camera. I'm also going to take a electrolyte cap to help with raising my blood pressure. I always have low blood pressure, but I'm also on a medication that lowers it a bit. It's fire engine orange, definitely, but this is like even more orange than in reality. It's closer to this orange here in reality than that. Well, maybe not. It is still quite a bit brighter than this, but it's not that bright. Okay, now we need to pick out the next ones. In my palette, I just go from orange to blue. I don't know why I did that. I wouldn't do that now, but this is a very, very old palette. I typically do not ever enjoy using... So the burnt sienna I'm probably going to do once I'm swatching over here, because I'll want to swatch it up here next to the transparent red oxide. So just so you know, Alyssa, that might be more towards the end. Sepia as well. And what do we got here? I think we have a green gold, nickel azo yellow, yep. And then we have a green, sap green. We have sodalite. We'll put that up there with the darker colors. And hey, can you guys tell me, how is like the quality of this camera for you, other than maybe the color? How is it? Is it crisp for you? Is it easy to see what's going on? Here's our burnt sienna. Are these all blues? We have a white. I don't know if I'll swatch the white, but we'll do the blues. Probably. Okay, we'll do them in this order. Oh, you do get to see. So we're gonna on this side over here, we'll start with these. So you will get to see the burnt sienna. That won't be one of the last ones. The last one would be white or one of the blues. Okay, so nickel azo yellow, I think, has a green tinge to it. And then azo yellow, Hansa yellow light is the most yellow. And let's put it there. Just came out really nicely. Not too messy. I do like the consistency of the Daniel Smith watercolors, and they do re-wet nicely. One's a yellow, light. I don't know what Hansa yellow dark looks like, or what Hansa means. PY3. Okay, I'm looking for the light fastness. I don't know. Oh, there it is. They kind of put it in a different place every time. But it's light fastness 2. And, you know, every brand has maybe a different... Oh, with the chat window open, the writing on your chart's too small for me to read. Oh, I'm sorry. I can try to zoom in a little bit. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know if that's important to you to be able to see it. Let's zoom in a bit. It doesn't look like it's very clear. Can you see it any better? If you close the chat window, could you see it? Thank you for the feedback, by the way. And this is a bright yellow, but it looks a lot more bright on my screen. Let me see something. I'm curious. So I don't have a lot of lights on. I'm just using light from the window today. And I think maybe the colors are actually darker to me than they are to you because this camera brightens it up. But I actually don't think that the color accuracy is quite as off as I was thinking it was because I'm kind of in the dark. No big deal. Yes, that's better. Okay, that's good. With the... Oh, you already read that. What happened? Why did it do that? That was so weird. I guess something on the table vibrated. Confused the camera. This is a great mixing yellow, but not my favorite. Oh yeah, I always use my hands to like determine how bright it is. My hands are not this red in real life. I'm actually kind of pale. I don't have that much pigment in my hands. So I know that you guys are getting more pigment than is realistic. Azo yellow. PY151. Series, oh, light fastness 1. That's all we know. On one of my, some binder just separated. This is one of my favorite yellows, so I use it a lot, or I have used it a lot in the past. You can see it has a lot more orange in it. And I remember it being very opaque. That's why I just did it over the eye, or yeah, the 1 for light fastness. Next we're going to do the Nico Azo Yellow. And where's the pigment number? I think it might be ripped off, unfortunately. So we're not going to know, but we do know that the light fastness is 1. And Nico Azo Yellow, I remember vaguely it being problematic. Like there's something in it that's like not, you don't want to eat it. Not that you want to eat most of your watercolors. Like particularly don't eat this one, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. The store that I got it from is now closed. There was a actual Daniel Smith art supply store in Seattle. And it no longer exists. It closed down during COVID, and it had a lot of really cool stuff that you couldn't get anywhere else, and it had, not surprisingly, a lot of Daniel Smith products. But it was big. I think it's bigger than most of the art supply stores I've ever been in. The only one that was bigger, I went to a huge Blick store in Savannah, Georgia. That place was enormous. It was like the size of a Walmart. It had everything. It was amazing. I look forward to returning. There's a art college, university. I don't know which one it is there. Such a nice town. Such a nice city, town. I don't know. It's pretty small. Now we've got sap green. And this one should have more than 1 pigment because sap green is almost always multi-pigment. So far, I think we've all had single pigments here. They've written it really weird. But there's Nico Azo Yellow. Did I pick up the wrong one? No. This is definitely sap green. Pigment Nico Azo Yellow. Okay. The way they've got it written, it's kind of weird. PY150. Because they have the whole name written out. Then quinacridone gold, which is PO48. And then phthalo green, which is PG7. Is that it? Yep. And then we're on to gum arabic. Okay, how can I do this without taking away the paper that has the information? When I bought these, I didn't know that I would be swatching them live for all to see, but I don't like losing information. I hate tags on my clothes. I have serious sensory issues with them, but I will suffer sometimes with a tag just so that I can continue to know what the ingredients are to my garment. I care a lot about that. And I'm not going to be like wildly uncomfortable, but if it's just like the tags in a place where it'll just touch you every so often, I'll leave it. And then when I make clothes out of old clothes, like restructuring clothing, I will try to keep the tags in as often as possible. Sap green. And then we're on to Serpentine Genuine. This one is one of those Prem Tech colors. So have we done a Prem Tech yet? No, I don't think so. So the Prem Tech colors have this P on it, and then they are all granulating. So you don't have to ask, is this granulating? So up here, the transparent red oxide is definitely granulating. And I think that would be so fun to mix with this sap green, which is also granulating. or at least it appears that it's going to be granulating. It's hard to tell yet. And you know what? It isn't super obvious for you. Let me see if I can zoom in. I know that this has a zoom, but I don't know if the zoom... Oh! Wait, what just happened? What is happening? Is this... Am I adjusting the saturation? Oh yeah, I forgot that this has a saturation option. I thought I was doing zoom. Obviously, I haven't used this camera very much. Okay, I think that's the zoom button. Yeah, do you see that granulation there? It's not as clear for you as it is for me, unfortunately. And this zoom, I think, is not mechanical. I think it's digital, so it's not super clear. The camera is 4K though, so it should be good. So we're gonna say serpentine genuine. I was really excited about this color, and then I was actually a little bit disappointed, and so I use it in mixing most of the time. Wow, it's light fast 4. That's not impressive. And I don't know if we're going to get a pigment, because the pigment is called genuine serpentine. Like, that's what it's called. It's not a chemical number. Oh, did I not write down the light fastness for sap green? I don't think I did. This one's 4. We're going to write the Roman numeral for what I think is 4. Hope that I'm right. And the light fastness for this one is 1. That's great. That's impressive, considering it's so many different pigments. Oh, that is a mess. Oh no. I think it's dried out. It doesn't mean that we can't use it. It just means it's more work to do so. And we're not going to get it's not going to be as much fun. Okay. Yeah, if the chat window's closed, it's easier to see, but I always keep it open. Yeah, I would do that too. Oh, man. These ones are expensive. So that's something for you to know, is that if you buy these and you don't intend to use it all up quickly, you might end up sorry that you spent the money a couple years later. I'm not heartbroken about it. I'm sure that I could cut it open and use it, but then that's like destroying. You know what? We can. It's probably really bad for my paintbrush, but I really want you all to get to see. So I was saying these are good for like plein air painting. There we go. Are we getting some of the... There we go, that's great. I'm gonna pick that up and put it on the palette, because otherwise it's gonna crumble all over the page. We're gonna clean. Thought I got myself a new napkin. Where did it go? Did I drop it? Yeah, I must have dropped it. cleaning the back that it was effective at getting the paint out. Okay, and then here's another Prima Tech color. This one is Diopside Genuine, and that's probably the name of the pigment. I would prefer to know, like, what does that mean? Like, what rock did you get it from? Because I think that's what it is. It's not, there's not actually a rock out there that's called that. Are we not getting the light fastness information? We are. Number 3. Wait, number 1. Oh, it's series 3, light fastness. 1. Let's see if this one is still intact. Yeah. Much more. I actually think this one right here and this one right here. Oh, yeah, obviously. But this one right here and that one right there are the same. So yeah, if you're into plein air painting, these are great. I think I'm getting quite a bit of binder here. It seems a little shiny and sticky. And you can't see it. Okay, there we go. And they can just be so fun because they have all those crazy colors. I feel like the Schmincke paints are the same. Like, I read somewhere somebody said about Schmincke, what you do is you put it down and leave it alone. You don't try to mess with it. And that is exactly how I don't paint. I always mess with it afterwards. So it's not really a good fit for me. Wet and wet is not really my thing. Most of the time I found my, nope, that's the new one. Okay, so now we are on to the rest of the browns, Alyssa. If you're still here, then I'm going to show you that one and I'll mix it for you. Burnt Sienna. PBR 7. I feel like this one's highly granulating. So if you're wanting that terracotta to be granulating, this one could make one. But is that all the information we have? Where's the light fastness? Oh, light fastness one. Still here, playing with my watercolors too. Cool. Which ones are you playing with? Daniel Smith or something else? One thing that I do remember liking about Daniel Smith is that I could blend them on the page. I don't know if that's going to make sense, but basically you could, because you're doing wet and wet, and they're great for that, you could just add another color in. So I'm going to do that with the coral right here. And you tell me if this is what you had in mind as far as terracotta goes. And I like that it's not completely even. I like that there's some color variation. What do you think, Alyssa? Do you like it? A mix of Michael Harding, Daniel Smith, and M. Graham. I've never heard of Michael Harding. What is that? What is Michael Harding? Do you want me to mix any other colors, Alyssa, on here? This one is the burnt sienna. Oops. Failed to finish my... Who makes Michael Harding? Like what country are they from? What country are you in, Alyssa? Are you in the US? Like me, or are you... Yep, you like it. I'll hold it up to the other camera. I think this would make really nice skin tones. There's some amount of granulation, but I don't know how much until it dries. But this is actual watercolor paper, so we get more consistent effects. Those are good. Thank you. You're welcome. I mean, if they have a terracotta, that's even better, right? But if you don't want to spend money, you could definitely make one that way. Which one are we on? Oh, yeah. We're going to be doing, I think this is Sodalite. Yeah, Sodalite Genuine. And this is another of the Primatech, but it's in a bar. Oh, you're not seeing it. I zoomed in. And so the range of what you can see is a little smaller now. Soda light. Oops, I'm spelling that wrong. It's not that kind of light. Soda light genuine. And oh, good. I cut it off, but there's still the paper is left. It's light fastness 1. And then the pigment is probably just, you know, soda light. And let's just peel off a little bit more of this. Michael Harding is from England. Yes, USA. Oh, okay. It's from England. I have literally never heard of it, but it sounds like something. I feel like the name sounds like it's like a motorcycle company. I don't know why. I think there's this guy that has a similar name, and what he does is he cuts up shirts that women are actively wearing and then pins them into different shapes. This sounds so weird what I'm saying, but like it's very artsy the way he does it, but his vibe is very rock and roll, motorcycles, and I feel like I don't know, I liked watching him work, but I always felt like the girls were kind of worshiping him in a kind of a creepy way. I don't know if his name was Michael Harding exactly, but it was something similar. And that's what it's reminding me of right now. Sepia. And Michael Harding as a watercolor is probably definitely very like, if it's British, it's probably very refined and not motorcycle-y at all. MH has gorgeous color and formulations. Oh, okay. I'll have to look into it. Not like I don't have enough watercolors already. I have so many. Probably more than I'll use in this lifetime. Although I'd love to think that I'm going to make tons and tons of paintings and use it all up. But I have used up paint before. Okay, so this one has ivory black and burnt umber in it. So it's PBR7 and PBK9. And I really like using sepia to to darken things up when you're using that 3 palette situation. Okay, this is a mess. Oh, I forgot to check the light fastness. Light fastness is 1. Where did you find out about the Michael? Are you on the West Coast, East Coast? I'm wondering if Michael Harding made its way into your world because you're on the East Coast. Because I feel like there's a greater connection between the East Coast and Europe. Whereas on the West Coast, I don't know, maybe we're more connected to Mexico, maybe Canada. But we're not necessarily getting a lot of products from Europe in the way that you might on the East Coast. Colorado. I brought them from Dick Blick and Jackson's. Jackson's makes sense. I love shopping from Jackson's, especially during the pandemic, because it made me feel like I was traveling. I'd get a package sometimes faster from, like, if I ordered something from Blick and Jackson's at the same time, sometimes it would come from Jackson's faster than Blick, which doesn't make sense because it was obviously coming from overseas. I thought that was so odd. That was an odd time. Okay, Shadow Violet. This one was recommended in one of my art books by, it's about birds and nature journaling by John Muir? Not the John Muir everybody's thinking about. He runs a nature journaling conference and he writes books, and he loves using this one as a shadow color. And so I got specifically this one. I hope I'm remembering right. And I used it a bit for that. But because it's a mix of colors, I ended up kind of mixing it myself a lot of the time. I don't remember why. Pyro Orange. Oh, I'm writing. Oops, I shouldn't be writing that down. I just want the PO73 number and the, just because it takes up too much space. That's why I don't want to write the whole thing out. And PB29, because that's ultramarine blue. And it does make an amazing shadow color. Like, it's so cool. And it's fun if you add a lot of water to it. And then it, when it, like, it's great actually for making the shadows, but it also is just a very dynamic color if you're spreading it out. So you put it down and it's kind of purpley, but if you give it a long time to dry, it may separate out. The orange and the blue might separate out a bit, and instead of getting this purpley color, you get, orange and blue, and looks really cool. Because I've been doing a lot more portraits the last couple of years, this doesn't appeal to me as much, but it was really fun when I was doing more nature journaling, like going out for a hike. But I discovered that I would rather be hiking and not painting because I get bothered by the wind, and I like my environment to be a little bit more predictable when I'm painting. Jackson has a US distribution center now, so it arrives quickly. Not all of their products are there, but many of them are. Ah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you know when they opened that distribution center? Because that must have been like, because I know that I'd watched a couple of Minnie Smalls videos where she was talking about Jackson's art, and I was like, ooh, what is that? That sounds cool. And it was not available for years until pandemic. And that could just be a coincidence of the time. So this is Andanthrone Blue, but I I'm debating doing ultramarine, putting it next to the color that has ultramarine in it, or a Danthrone blue, which is darker. And we're kind of doing dark colors here. So I think we're going to wait on the ultramarine. Let's make sure that I'm telling you the truth, and that's what this is. Oh, this is really ripped to pieces. Ultramarine blue, yes. And Danthrone blue. And it's light fastness 1, but I'm not really seeing, I feel like I've ripped off too much of the pigment numbers. Oh, I see something, PB60. I don't know if that's the only color in here. I highly doubt that. But that is what we've got. Hold on. PB60. I think that's it. I think we got all the info. Wow. Very cool. I think in one of our last live streams, Alyssa, you mentioned that you live in Colorado. And I think I said, oh, that's one of the places on my list of places I'd like to live, or I think I would enjoy living there. I like mountains a lot. I'd miss the ocean. I've always lived pretty close to the ocean. But I don't actually like go to the ocean all the time. So I think maybe I'd be happy with like lakes and streams. My grandmother grew up visiting Denver, Colorado. She had a friend that lived there. And so she talked about it a lot, and it was so exotic to me because my family didn't travel. So we're going to go down to green. So we need to do our blues first. What do we want? I think Phthalo blue is much more of a greeny blue than ultramarine is. You don't go to I don't know how long it's been there. I used to hate ordering from Jackson because it was such a pain. Oh, I think I know what that vibration is. We are going to make it go away, and it's not going to happen again. Okay. I feel like the colors are looking much better now, much more accurate on this side. Not here, but like here. Lighting is so weird. Alyssa, I generally don't go to the mountains either. Too crowded, huh? Crowded mountains. Maybe we can have crowds on hikes here. I'm not bothered by crowds, so that would not be a reason for me not to go. What would be a reason for me not to go is a matter of planning, making sure that I plan it into my schedule. And I oftentimes don't, and that's so silly because it would make me happy. But my partner isn't really a fan of hiking in the rain. I'm not sure that they are a fan of hiking at all, especially driving back and forth. Oh, so it's like crowded. Yeah, driving through crowds is not fun. I find like there's tons of places to go hiking here. And so like I think I have no information on this other than it is ultramarine. We're just going to go with that. Yeah, there can be traffic, but it's not necessarily to the mountains. And I mean, totally worth it though to me if the place is like really a cool place to hike. But I don't know, with all my food allergies, a lot of times I'm like, I'll have to eat in the car if there's a lot of traffic, because by the time I get there, I'm hypoglycemic too. I get hypoglycemic pretty easily, so I have to eat sometimes pretty frequently, especially if hiking and using a bunch of energy. That's a beautiful ultramarine. But I would say, I don't know. I don't think that the places around here get super crowded, except in summer. Phthalo blue. Of course, there's traffic all the time, but nothing like the LA traffic. So people complain about traffic here, but I'm like, well, I mean, it's not great. It's gonna make you late if you don't. PB 15, and I think it's 3. It's covered. I've covered this in like something orange, so I'm not sure, but I think it's the same in every other brand. So I think it's PB 15:3, and the light fastness is 1. I find that people are pretty friendly while hiking, and I enjoy that. Because Pacific Northwest can be a little bit of a... Sometimes people aren't like super social. So it's nice if somebody says hi. Just to say hi. I think that ultramarine is usually darker than phthalo blue, but because I was having trouble getting enough of it off, it appears the other way around. So I'm gonna add a little bit here because this, I don't think this is accurate. It did look really pretty though, the way, without me adding. Okay. We're done with phthalo blue, and we get to choose between 2 turquoise. We're gonna go with the darker one, Sleeping Beauty Turquoise Genuine, and that one's another Primatech color, and so we're not gonna have a chemical number. I would love to know if it was like literal turquoise. It was expensive, so it might be. And I feel like it's not as dark as you think it would be, and that was actually disappointing to me. I'm sorry, I'm like kind of Alyssa says, I'm a baby about traffic and people drive crazy. Yeah, I mean, don't they everywhere, right? Like, I can't think of any place where you could be like, you know, people are just such responsible drivers everywhere I go. I don't ever hear anyone say that. Okay, the light fastness is 1. Let's see if I remember this one correctly, because I was super excited about this one, and then I think it ended up being maybe disappointing. I don't remember why. And I felt like, oh, I didn't choose the correct colors. I think some binder came out. Let's see if I can mix it back in. Uh-oh, we're picking up some of the phthalo blue, and that's gonna then not be an accurate. Come on. Re-wet. It does not want to re-wet. It's a beautiful color, but I think I thought it was brighter. If you wanted it to be brighter, you could just mix it with another turquoise. But then you'd have to buy another one, and since this is pretty expensive, maybe it's actual turquoise. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Now you can see. And we're gonna scoot it up even more because Got one more to do, and this is cobalt turquoise. I used to really hate driving in Southern California because it's not attractive, like the freeways and stuff. But I don't mind here because you just get a bunch of like beautiful, tall trees, especially once you get out of the city. And it's gorgeous. Oh, I guess I should have checked if there's any other information, because there might be. Like that's this one. And we'll check and see if it's a... Oh, it might not be a Primatech. So it might actually have a number on it. Oh yeah, it's PG 50. So this isn't a Primatech. Paintbrush dirty. Kind of hard to re-wet this one, if I remember correctly. This is the last one. I mean, I have white, but I don't think I'm going to swatch it. It won't show up. And I think it would be fun to mix these two turquoise together on this piece of paper. And Alyssa, you can see what this looks like dried. I feel like I've used these paints for mermaid tails, but I think I got this paint long before I ever started doing mermaid, which I kind of want to do this year, but I have some other goals that might take priority. Trying to get as much color off of this one as I can, and it's kind of difficult. I think that's the best I can do. I think I'll leave this. Oh, there's already a big chunk right here. It's dirty, but okay, we're gonna leave it there just so it can dry. And that's the two mixed up. I think that looks really, like that has a lot of depth. So here's our mixing sheet. I like that one. I like how that turned out. Is that just the original color? Or is it with the pink mixed in? I don't really remember. And then I'm gonna show you. So we're gonna, here's the colors we mixed, the two turquoises. And then I'm gonna show you our Daniel Smith swatched. All swatched. I feel like we're missing some. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. No, that's right. We're supposed to have 21, including the... that might be blocking the light a little bit. Hold on. Where can I put this? It's still wet, and I've run out of space. The setup today is a little different. Okay, I found somewhere to put it. clean up my brushes. And we're going to zoom back a little bit. Oh, did I forget? No, we did that one. Okay. Wish I had a more graceful way to do this. But not today. Not yet. Yep, so here's our colors, and they're not dry, so they're not necessarily 100% accurate. Alyssa, do you have any other questions about like things you want mixed before we go? I would say that this is actually, these are really bright, but that's actually like almost close to accurate. Let me see if I can get it. That's as good as we've got it. You can see that this one is like separating out. You see the blue? I think that looks so pretty. And then, do we have any other things of note? I feel like there's a lot of granulation in either turquoise, even though this one is specifically the Preem Tech one. I feel like this one will create just as much fun granulation, maybe not as much, but like very close. And so does the diopsa green. It has some granulation, but maybe not as much as I was expecting. And then transparent red oxide is also definitely not in the Preem Tech, but it has a lot of granulation. I feel like the burnt sienna and transparent red oxide are pretty similar, and I think I remember regretting buying one or the other. I was like, oh, they're too similar. But all these years later, I am less attached to my decisions that I made in the past, and I don't mind as much now. I'm like, okay, well, I could see how they both have uses for different things. That looks like there's a lot less granulation for this one. So this one actually might be good for a wet in wet portrait. Maybe not layering. I don't think Daniel Smiths like to be layered. Alyssa, if you're still there, can you tell me if those brown that you were talking about, if it's good for layering or if it's good for wet and wet more? Do you happen to know? Yes, it's very pretty. Very, very nice. Very nice. I feel like some of the like core, like I have a lot of colors in core, but it just didn't make a very pretty swatching the way that this does, or the way that the Mission Gold. I don't know if it's because I'm missing like oranges. In Winsor & Newton, I have like way too many oranges and yellows. In St. Petersburg, it's a set, and it didn't have that many colors to begin with. Roman Small have a lot of colors. I feel like that looks kind of messy because there's so much granulation. They're a fancy one for granulation. You can see cores like much more flat, aside from like Viridian. The browns aren't even that granulating. Huh. That's good. That's good information for me for when I'm choosing like what paint I'm going to use for what. I would say though right now, Mission Gold's my favorite because it's kind of shiny. And that's a unique feature, and it kind of just stays where you put it. It's not as fun as Daniel Smith. Daniel Smith's kind of fancy, and I didn't wait for that to dry. Let's fix this. Yeah, and I think we're about done. It didn't take too long, considering that I started so late. At least it's the ultramarine blue that got on it. If it was the phthalo blue, phthalo blue stains so much, I would not have been able to get this off. But ultramarine is, I think, bigger pigments, and it doesn't sink into the paper quite as fast. There we go. Much better. And this is just going to sit here for a while. Well, you all move on with your lives and do something else. Because I'm about ready to leave. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this Daniel Smith swatch, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!